From NFL punter to perhaps the most popular personality on TV, Pat McAfee's career, both on and off the field, has been quite the movie. So what is it that makes him such a big name in the industry? And why did ESPN go all out just to acquire his signature in a mega deal? Well, to answer that question, we have to go back to the beginning, including some of his wildest moments, biggest controversies, lavish partnerships, and the contract that changed sports broadcasting forever. This is the story of Pat McAfee, the most loved announcer in football. Patrick McAfee was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to his parents Tim and Sally in a town called Plum. McAfee used to kick footballs against the side of his house as a kid and got into organized sports at Plum High School. While there, he lettered in soccer, volleyball, and football, and as an athletic kid had offers from all three sports.
I had more schools, like probably 10x amount of schools looking at me for soccer than I did for football, and that started like my freshman year of high school. And when I say I was a pretty good soccer player, I was a pretty good soccer player. I had a cannon of a leg, obviously. Didn't have great cardio because I was, built like a spark plug my entire life.
He's never forgotten his roots despite all of his monumental success. In fact, McAfee has donated over $2 million to his high school alma mater's athletic program, of which he graduated in 2005. He has nothing but good things to say about his hometown and has made other significant donations to support the community back home. And in typical Pat McAfee fashion, it was a local poker game that started his kicking career. He had borrowed $100 from a friend, gone to an illegal betting club, and turned his $100 into $1,400.
I end up leaving with $1,400. I get home as my dad's leaving for work, tell him I need $100 or whatever. We fly down there. I win a kicking contest, hit a 65-yard field goal, miss a 70-yard field goal wide right, hop on a plane. Next morning, West Virginia's in my cafeteria offering me a scholarship. How's it going? With the trophy that I won.
Pat won the starting job at West Virginia as a freshman and went on to kick and punt for the program for 4 years. His career earned him a spot at the Senior Bowl, often regarded as a great opportunity to meet with coaches and teams before the draft process officially begins. At the Senior Bowl, he attended with 2 of his West Virginia teammates and started the game as the South team's kicker. But that's where the problematic start happened. You see, Thomas Morstead, who also is a great NFL punter, was told he would be holding for Pat to kick.
I mean, he had never held before, and nobody played catch with Thomas Morstead growing up. He had the worst hands.
Pat was concerned that his friend's awful hands might hinder his opportunity to impress NFL scouts, and the circus that it turned into certainly didn't help him out.
It would hit Thomas's hands, it would bounce on the ground, and he would pick it up and hold it, and then I would kick. And this is my only time to kick for NFL scouts, right? Only time. This is it.
In the end, he started playing catch just to pass the time, which landed him in trouble with the NFL scout.
And I started doing like one-handed snags. I was like, at least I could show off that I'm a little bit of an athlete,
Yeah.
So then I get back after one of the practices, and one of the scouts from the team asked me if I was taking it serious enough since I was playing catch during practice.
Wow.
And I was like, well, I thought it was a way to kind of stay active since I couldn't kick any balls.
He was told never to punt again before being drafted by the Indianapolis Colts in the 7th round of the 2009 NFL Draft. Pat had been informed that he would be drafted by the Dallas Cowboys.
I was like so jacked up. We were celebrating. My whole family and I were partying. Friday night, first round was the Friday night. We're like, well, definitely not going here. Let's go ahead and get fucked up, cuzzo. We got real intoxicated. Woke up Saturday, same damn thing. Sunday, we're going to be sober for this moment. Go golfing, hole 14. My mom goes, fuck!
While playing golf on day 3 of the draft, the Dallas Cowboys selected kicker David Buehler out of USC.
There's sorrows at this point. Like, we're a sad, drunk family in my living room right there in Plumboro, Pennsylvania. Just sitting there drinking.
Until the phone rang in the 7th round. Bill Polian had called to explain to Pat that the Colts had traded up with the Philadelphia Eagles to take him.
And my parents are now celebrating because it went across the thing that I got drafted. They come flying in, everybody's drunk, hammered drunk, screaming around me like, we fucking did it! Like all jacked up. And the assistant lady's like, what number do you want, And I'm like, what do you have? She's like, okay, I'm going to read through a list of open numbers. I'm like, okay. She goes, 1. I go, perfect.
And hung up the phone to drink and celebrate with his folks in Plum, Pennsylvania. I mean, these kinds of average Joe stories that Pat has shared since retiring are what made people resonate with him so heavily. He's really just an average guy who loves a beer, a party, or a casino who happened to have a pretty astounding ability to kick a football a very long way. Once he had made it to the league, Pat became the starting punter and kickoff specialist for the Colts, making it all the way to the Super Bowl with them in his very first season in the league. McAfee has very openly spoken about riding with Peyton Manning's success all the way to the Super Bowl. In fact, he has multiple times that he had no idea how to punt professionally during his rookie season, but here he was, kicking off the Super Bowl in place of injured Hall of Famer Adam Vinatieri. Pat was named to the all-rookie team that season, earning his place among some of the best punters in the NFL straight out of the gate. And while in the league, he had some pretty memorable moments during his time as a player too, which isn't that easy to do as a punter. In 2013, Pat kicked an absolute peach of a punt out of a nightmare situation. The snap hit him in the hands and he dropped it. The ball bobbled and Pat scooped it up before looking up to see Houston Texans defenders bearing down on him. He sidestepped one, dodged another, and then punted the ball down the field, seeing it settle around the 10-yard line. I mean, he was so electric that the Colts trusted him with multiple fakes too, taking off and running for a first down in week 15 of the 2015 season against the Titans while backed up near his own end zone. And then just a year later, he threw a pass on a fake punt in front of a big crowd on Thanksgiving. And how can we not mention McAfee and not mention his celebration and antics after successful punts and fakes showed his true personality. He constantly looked like he was having fun, and those moments made him a popular figure amongst fans. Everybody remembers his hit on Trindon Holiday.
On the road to atonement, and McAfee bangs him out of bounds.
But even that wasn't the greatest moment of his career, despite being one of the best hits a kicker or punter will ever lay in the NFL. I think his best moment was in a regular season matchup on the road against Houston. Indianapolis decided to try something rather unique. Not only did Pat kick an onside kick, but he kicked it right up the middle of the field before diving on it himself. I mean, it was something that nobody had ever seen before. That season, the Colts had been attempting surprise onside kicks regularly too, and so the Texans had deployed their hands team on either side, leaving the middle of the field wide open. To their credit, what Pat did had never been done before. He dove on his own ball, executed it perfectly, and stood up to give a bow to the crowd, in McAfee style, of course. During his career, he punted 575 times in the NFL, all for the Indianapolis Colts, totaling over 26,000 punt yards with a career-high 74-yarder. He was named a first-team All-Pro in 2014, a two-time Pro Bowler, and holds the NFL record for the highest career net average punt yards. Without a doubt, Pat's a Hall of Famer, and that's going to be a wild ride of a show when the call comes in for him. In fact, Pat has already been nominated for the Hall, and he found out live on his show.
Is this real? I did not.
How do we vote for you?
I did not play long enough to deserve that. Whoa, man, that is.
Length doesn't matter.
How does that even happen?
Immediately, Pat told fans and his colleagues not to vote for him.
Don't vote for Shane Leckler. This is one of those things. Vote for Shane Leckler to go in. This is wild to be on this fucking graphic.
I mean, that just shows how pure class from the legend himself, and one of the many reasons fans love him and his character so much. He doesn't expect to make the Hall, but was honored enough to have even be listed on the graphic alongside of the other greats at his position. But surely though, a punter collecting his own onside kicks, executing fakes, laying bone-crushing hits, and playing in the Super Bowl does deserve a spot in the Hall of Fame. When he hung it up, McAfee's retirement speech was a sign of things to come. In a comedy skit that included teammate Adam Vinatieri, tight end Greg Olsen, and the team at Barstool, who gave Pat his start in entertainment.
Sports. You were a punter and now you're a blogger. Are you ever going to have a job where you can get laid?
Great question and good analysis. And I'd assume I'll probably be a virgin till death.
And I may be misquoting here, but I believe Barstool was in Chicago at the time. He would stay based in Indiana and started to build a name for himself as a great storyteller and comedian with the charisma and personality that suited podcasting and entertainment perfectly. After working with Barstool as a launchpad, Pat started his own company in 2018. And after multiple endorsement deals and sponsorships, the show was now one of the most popular on the internet, being broadcast on YouTube on a daily basis to an enormous crowd. He had been a major partner with FanDuel and was signed to a 4-year, $120 million deal. I mean, Pat's personality was taking over the internet. His opinions were always honest, and he would react to the latest news going on around the NFL along with his colleagues, often having a laugh, telling stories, and creating a show that was a genuinely good time for those tuning in. While hosting his own show too, McAfee got the call to come on to College Gameday, and from his tomahawk streaks to crowd surfing, McAfee was a walking highlight. But his highlight reel is capped by jumping from a boat into the Brazos River during a Baylor tailgate.
The last time I allegedly did what I'm about to do, I ended up in a jail cell. Let's go!
Some felt that McAfee was spoiling the classic feel to college football game day.
It's like we're like almost 2.5 years in to this college football thing with game day, and these people are still like, nope, this guy. It's like, God damn. I thought I'd have him won over by now. I have not, but I will say, being on that show is awesome.
And didn't take it well as to him being so loud and just having a chaotic personality on what was a very traditional show. But that's what makes it so great. He's always so unapologetically himself, and many love his charisma and his energy and see it more as a breath of fresh air. Pat is a real character. Everywhere he goes, his fun, loving personality just comes out, and he's created a lifetime of viral clips already in his young career in broadcasting. I mean, his YouTube alone was so popular that it started to rival major networks, and eventually one of them bought him out and his show. As we all know, in May of 2023, it was announced that McAfee had reached a 5-year agreement with ESPN valued at $85 million. It's a bigger contract than some NFL superstars are given for their contributions on the field.
It only happens because all you motherfuckers that watch and follow along.
Not only was Pat signing a huge deal with a major network, but he was their biggest star. McAfee became the all-pro quarterback of the broadcasting industry. He did have to settle his fan base when the news was announced, with those who had grown to love his show concerned that ESPN would ruin it by suffocating Pat's personality in line with their strict guidelines as a major TV network. But he assured those loyal to him that nothing was going to change, and in fairness to him, he kept that promise so far. I mean, over the years, his fans honestly have grown fonder of the man he's become, remaining humble and grateful for the path he's traveled and those who have helped him to reach the level he's at now. After just about every major moment in his career, whether that means an opening monologue at the ESPYs, featuring in a major event in the WWE, or traveling around the country for countless other opportunities, whenever he returns to his show, he shows gratitude. Together with his team, including former linebacker AJ Hawk, defensive backs Darius Butler and Pac-Man Jones, and some of the members of his crew that have come up with him on this wild ride, like Boston Connor and Ty Schmidt, who all contribute to the energy of what has become one of the best sports shows on the internet. McAfee's insane rise is astounding, with arguably the best show that has ever come out and has completely revolutionized the NFL broadcasting industry forever.